So, the Golden State Warriors have plenty of questions to answer heading into 2025-26, with the most pertinent regarding the future of Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga's offseason spectacle is a topic for another video entirely, but the distraction that it has caused has effectively taken away from one of the Warriors' most important and integral pieces, and one that might have a huge hand in flipping the script and keeping their dynastic run alive while keeping Steph Curry and Draymond Green in the hunt for their fifth NBA title as teammates. Hello, my name is Dean Simon, and I love NBA basketball. My passion for the league knows no bounds, and I'll be covering all 30 teams throughout the 2025-26 regular season, which will begin to ramp up soon. My goal is to reach 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you could hit that big red button down below and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. Kuminga has dominated the offseason for Golden State as he's held up the potential signings of veterans and NBA champions like Al Horford and Gary Payton II, as well as their possible reunion with two-way bench weapon DeAnthony Melton. While the roster, even outside of Kuminga, seems to be in limbo, the Warriors' true X factor will not be one of these possible free agent additions or Kuminga. Instead, Golden State should heavily rely upon incoming third-year shooting guard Brandon Pajemski to take on more of the offensive burden, but not necessarily as an aggressive on-ball scoring option. However, his sensational second-half performance last year on offense might give the Warriors some hope that a further developed and a little bit more at ease Pajemski can ease into a bigger role as a catch-and-shoot threat and key decision-maker next year. If anything, the Warriors know that they'll be employing a supremely gritty and hardworking guard that has a motor like few others that have ever suited up for the franchise. At a glance, Pajemski's second NBA campaign doesn't jump out at you. 11.7 points, 5.1 rebounds, 3.4 assists, below average 55.7% true shooting percentage in 64 regular season contests. But what goes undetected, however, is the fact that it took a superhuman effort to even turn his season around to get to the box score figures that he did after an awful beginning, specifically in terms of scoring the ball. To put it plainly, Pajemski could not throw a rock in the ocean, and pre-All-Star break, his figures of 9.7 points, 3.5 assists on 32% shooting from three said about as much. But following his rough start, Warriors fans quickly began to turn on Pajemski, even after he authored a magnificent rookie campaign in 23-24. This was a year that saw him sneak in as a first-team all-rookie selection, but the fans' anger could have also been fueled by disappointment stemming from an interesting situation in the summer of 2024. This was when Warriors owner Joe Lacob displayed his real admiration for the then 21-year-old, saying that he believed Pajemski would be a future All-Star selection. In my humble opinion, I feel as though it was this point in the season, pre-All-Star break, where Warriors fans completely forgot what Pajemski was brought in to do, or at least what his main shtick was. Pajemski's undying hustle and defensive activity will always be his calling card, as well as his willingness to constantly put his body on the line, which I love very much, but in 23-24 as a rookie, Pajemski led the NBA in drawn charges, stepping in to draw 38 offensive fouls. Unfortunately, putting the ball in the basket remained very difficult for Pods leading up to the All-Star break of his sophomore season. But then, something changed. Well, what changed was that Pajemski suffered an abdominal strain against the Phoenix Suns on December 28th, and that caused him to miss the Warriors' next 12 games. This ailment ended up being more serious than previously anticipated, as he underwent a surgery to repair an injured core muscle this offseason. So, Brandon Pajemski suffers a debilitating abdomen injury in the midst of a horrible campaign. Most would probably have thought that this season ended right there, or at least his did, and that it'd be better for him to sit out an even heftier chunk of time due to the Warriors' mediocre 28-27 record at All-Star break and positioning as the Western Conference's number 7 seed. But instead, in tandem with Golden State's eventual trade for Jimmy Butler, the Warriors went on a massive late season run, due in large part to the fantastic play of Pajemski after he returned to the lineup on January 23rd. Pajemski proceeded to light it up post All-Star break, notching several career best nights on his way to averaging 15.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 3.3 assists, while knocking down an absurd 43.8% of his 6.2 three-point attempts. Pajemski specifically put the league on notice in the month of April. Pod somehow reached another level by cashing in on 48.1% of his looks from distance on an even higher volume, reaching 17.4 points spanning 8 games in the month. Pajemski's magnum opus fittingly came in April when the Warriors visited LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers on April 3rd. He scored 28 points, grabbed 8 rebounds, and dished 6 assists, and he connected on an unreal 8 out of his 10 threes in an eventual win, including a last-second heave from inside half court to end the first half. I promise, though, I do have a point, and I don't mean for this to just be a retrospective of last season. All of this is to say that Pods handled plenty of the offensive burden for the Warriors during their most pressure-filled part of the season last year, when the team was struggling to just remain in the play-in picture year in a ridiculously loaded Western Conference. Crazily enough, this isn't even fully why I believe Pajemski will truly be a key force for Golden State next year, as other factors come into it. There's something about Brandon Pajemski that plenty of other players at his age and at his position just don't have, and that's maturity and a sense of calmness that he provides to the Warriors offense. When he entered the NBA, Pods was able to learn from both Steph Curry and Chris Paul, but his natural ability to set the tone for the team might have caught the two Hall of Famers off guard. One thing that you certainly want to be above all else when you enter the NBA as a rookie guard is someone that your team and the veterans on the team can trust with the ball. And Pajemski's offensive game is very mature in that way, as he's composed and level-headed, and he takes advantage of having fantastic footwork, and he carves out lanes for himself and creates opportunities for his teammates. Pajemski's calmness tends to spread to the rest of the lineup or any lineup that he's a part of, and that must count for something. And this is especially when you consider what it takes coming into an organization of the Warriors' caliber smack dab in the middle of Steph Curry's late career title window. Golden State's incoming rookies often receive a heightened level of scrutiny because they're forced to develop at a much more accelerated pace due to the franchise's need to surround Curry and company with serviceable supporting talent and some that could help him win a title. I think the way that Pajemski has been able to handle all of this while staying composed is one of, if not the biggest reason, why he'll have a major impact for the Warriors next season, and that the focus should really be on him and not Kuminga. Of any player that the Warriors have drafted these past couple of years, whether it be Kuminga or Moses Moody or Pajemski or Trace Jackson Davis, Pajemski stands out to me as the guy that can most affect winning at the highest level for Golden State, and that's just due to his defensive intensity, his activity, his relentlessness, and competitiveness. He's always skying for offensive rebounds and trying to always do the dirty work, hustling for loose balls. That's just his nature, and that's not even mentioning the fact that he always puts his body on the line, draws charges at an elite rate already, and that's just another thing that goes with his overall, mature game. For these reasons, I believe that Brandon Pajemski will be the most impactful young guy for the Golden State Warriors next year, and that he'll fit like a glove alongside Jimmy Butler playing full time next to him and having another year to hopefully get Steph and Draymond another title. Anyways, that'll be it for me. Thank you very much for sticking around at this point in the video. If you did, I would seriously consider pressing that big red button down below. Again, trying to reach 500 subscribers before the end of 2025, so I'd really appreciate it if you came along and joined the ride. Also, if you could turn on post notifications and leave a like and comment on this video and tell me what you think. Will Brandon Pajemski really excel and prove to be a more valuable piece than a guy like Kuminga, than a guy like Moses Moody? And will he just prove to be more important than Kuminga in general? Please let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.